Welcome to Geno'S Picks. You know what that is behind me? The studio. It's good to be back. And not just because we went 3-1 last week, not just because we're 7-9 this week, but because we're very excited about the way the podcast has been going. 18-11 the past 2 weeks. It seems like Daddy's turning around and he's getting hot. So you want to get these 4 picks. So let's do it. But first, you know what really grinds my gears? K-Cups, people. The little lady has switched to K-Cups from the good old-fashioned coffee pot, and I don't like it because I drink a lot of coffee. Hard to believe, it's not cocaine. And I like to spend the day freshening up my cup. You can't do that with a K-Cup. You got to keep putting in a new one. It doesn't work. But that's what we've become as a nation. People like these cute little packages. But that's not any good for me because let me tell you something, people. K-Cups in the coffee section are like K-Cups in a bra. The packaging may look really cool and enticing, but all you're getting out of either one is a big, hot mess. All right, let's get to the picks. My first pick. The Eagles are getting 3.5 from the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Yes, the Steelers are coming off a bye, and yes, Rashard Mendenhall is back and healthy, and I know that goes a long way, but not as far as this man can go, LaShawn McCoy. I would argue this guy's the best kid in football right now, but unfortunately he's saddled with Andy Reid, whose playbook uses all the logic of a Southerner on Family Feud. He keeps yelling pass and can't figure out why he's staring at so many zeros. Well, good news. Usually after a lopsided drubbing like they got from the Cardinals this past 2 weeks ago in Week 3, he realizes that he needs to use McCoy more. And given the fact that they're facing the Steelers' defense, which is giving up over 100 yards a game on the ground, I think that's all they'll need, people, to have LaShawn McCoy control this game. Take the Eagles and the 3.5. My next pick, the Ravens are giving 6.5 to the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Yes, I know Arrowhead is one of the toughest stadiums to play in. And I know a TD, which is what I'm sure the line will be at game time, is a lot to cover, especially when KC has this man, Jamal Charles, the most explosive running back in football right now. But they also have this man, Matt Castle, who absolutely stinks and has never been good in KC's system. What don't you get, KC? If you take the 3 current USC QBs in the NFL and Carson Palmer, who's struggling at best, Mark Sanchez, who will be benched at some point this week, and don't worry, he'll be starting again by Week 9, Jets fans. And can anyone tell me why the Jets aren't looking at Greg McElroy? At any rate, and the third one, Matt Leinart. Leinart is by far the worst quarterback. So why do you build an NFL offense around his college backup? Castle's about to lose his job to, of all people, Brady Quinn. And I'm sorry, you just cannot play football looking over your back shoulder at anyone, let alone staring forward at Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. Oh, and here's one more tidbit about the 1-3 Chiefs. Do you know how many minutes they've been ahead this entire season? 0. Yes, even their lone win came on a game-winning field goal in overtime in a game that they trailed the full 60 minutes of regulation. Yet, despite the fact that Castle has been playing against a ton of prevent defenses, he's completed only 37% of his passes to his wide receivers. Wow. When Castle finally does lose his job this season, he shouldn't be called the backup as much as the understudy. Because the one thing he has never done this season is taken the lead, people. Take the Ravens and lay the 6.5. Which brings me to my lock of the week. People, the Bengals are laying 3.5 to the Dolphins, and as much as I love the Jamie Edmondson picture of her in the Dolphin outfit, and I know it's begging me to take them, see, I have to go with the Bengals here. Sure, the Bengals are allowing 130 yards a game rushing, and Reggie Bush is healthy, and he's having a career year. But while Bush has been up and down in the Finns' backfield, more than he ever was in Kim Kardashian's, the Bengals' offense of Dalton, Green, the law firm of BJE, and the exciting Andrew Hawkins have been doing something Kim Kardashian's ratings have not. Steadily improving. 2 things I cannot see this Sunday is Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis fumbling for the 3rd week in a row, or Brian Hartline gaining 253 yards in the air. But one thing I can see is a huge letdown for young Ryan Tannehill and the Dolphins after that crushing loss on the road as well last week. People, take the Bengals and lay the 3.5. Which brings me to my Double Your Money Monday Night betters. I like to call it 3-0 the past 3 weeks. People, the Texans are giving 9 to the Jets in the Meadowlands on Monday night. Wow. I haven't seen a group of Jets this doomed since ABC's Pan Am. I like that picture. Last week, it was the defense losing their best player and best cornerback in the NFL in Darrelle Revis. And as I said, when that happened, everyone on the Jets defense had to shift up a spot. And Antonio Cromartie suddenly has to go from the #2 cornerback, covering the #2 wideout, to having to cover the #1 receiver all the way down to Kyle Wilson, who, by the way, this week, I don't know if you saw it, after getting burned 3 different times this week, he actually celebrated like he had anything to do with it. Not because of his skills, but it was because the Joe Average quarterback, that is Alex Smith, overthrew 3 different wide-open receivers on 3 occasions. And let me tell you, those receivers were Tim Crabtree and Mario Manningham, who combined have 1 notable catch in their careers, and it wasn't thrown by Alex Smith. There you go, Joe. A little something to pep you up after your G-Men choke Sunday. Trust me, Kyle, Schaub is far more accurate, and Johnson and Kevin Walter are far more sure-handed. But hey, if you're a Jets fan, don't worry, because after this week, instead of Revis Island, Kyle Wilson will be the new island in the Jets secondary, Hawaii. Because if it's a Sunday afternoon, you can expect to see bombs getting dropped on them. And now, a week after losing your best defensive player, you lose your go-to guy on offense in Mark Sanchez's security blanket, Santonio Holmes. Please, Sanchez, do you know this, looks for him 3 times as often as anybody else in that friggin' offensive unit. And now he's out with a Liz Frank injury. People, that bodes doom for the Jets, because seeing the words Liz Frank on an injury report is like seeing the words Anne Frank on a book report. Either way, someone is about to vanish. Our first Anne Frank joke. People, Santonio Holmes is going bye-bye, and with him, he's taking the last remnants of what the Jets called an offense. People, take the Texans and lay the big fat 9 they're telling you to. Those are Geno's picks.